Hello everyone, and welcome to my General Hospital official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up.
The air in Port Charles hummed thick with the unspoken, a palpable tension that seeped into the very foundations of its most infamous institutions. At General Hospital, the fluorescent lights hummed a sterile tune against the backdrop of human desperation, their glow illuminating corridors where fates were decided with a scalpel's precision or a single, damning confession. The day, Monday, November 24, 2025, promised not healing, but a series of reckonings, each one poised to unravel the carefully constructed lives of those who walked its halls. In the dim, wood-paneled quiet of the Metro Court Bar, a different kind of surgery was about to take place. Sonny Corinthos sat, a king in his casual domain, a glass of amber liquid catching the low light. He wasn't drinking, he was waiting. The arrival of Jason Morgan was never announced by sound, but by a shift in the atmosphere, a subtle realignment of the room's energy. Jason slid into the booth opposite him, his blue eyes a calibrated instrument of calm. "We have a problem," Sonny began, his voice a low rumble. "Cyrus Renaud. He's not just making noise anymore. He's building an orchestra." Jason gave a single, slow nod. "The shipments from the docks. They're his. He's using old pikeman routes, but the product is different. More volatile. He's cornering the market on a new synthetic opioid. Cut with something the labs haven't seen before. It's cheaper, more potent, and it's killing people in the streets, Jason. Not in back alleys. On their own couches." Sonny's fist clenched on the table. This was more than territory, it was a poison seeping into the city's bloodstream, a brazen challenge to his own, more structured, empire. "He's making it personal. He approached one of my lieutenants. Made an offer." "Who?" Jason's question was a blade. "Doesn't matter. The offer was refused. The lieutenant was found this morning. It wasn't clean." Sonny's jaw tightened. "This is a declaration of war. He's not hiding. He wants me to know it's him." "Then we respond," Jason stated, the simplicity of his words belying the complex, violent machinery they would set in motion. "We find his distribution center. We cut off the head. It's not that simple. He's insulated. Layers upon layers. And he has leverage." Sonny finally took a sip of his drink, the ice cubes clinking like a warning bell. "He's been seen with Laura Collins." Jason's impassive facade cracked by a millimeter. "The mayor. Why?" "That's the question, isn't it? Is she a target? An unwitting ally? Or is there something else?" Sonny leaned forward. "I need you to get close. Find the center of his web. But this time, Jason, it's different. He's not playing by any rules we recognize. He enjoys the chaos." As they spoke, the object of their discussion was holding court in a private room at the Savoy. Cyrus Renaud, looking more like a benevolent philanthropist than a drug lord, smiled at Laura Collins. "Your commitment to the city's revitalization project is truly inspiring, Madam Mayor. It's a shame that certain elements continue to drag Port Charles back into the dark ages." Laura, ever the diplomat, offered a measured smile. "Progress is often a slow dance, Cyrus. We take 2 steps forward, sometimes 1 step back. But we keep moving. Your generous donation to the free clinic will make a real difference. I believe in healing, Laura." "May I call you Laura?" He didn't wait for an answer. "True healing, from the inside out. Sometimes, to cure a disease, you must first aggressively treat the symptom." His eyes held a glint that made Laura's skin prickle. She was a veteran of Port Charles politics and knew a veiled threat when she heard one. She just couldn't yet discern what, or who, the symptom was. Across town, in the sprawling, modern apartment that overlooked the city, that symptom was currently trying to soothe his wife. Carly Corinthos was pacing, a storm contained in silk pajamas. "He didn't come home, Drew. Not a call, not a text. Her voice was tight with a fear she refused to fully name. When Sunny goes radio silent like this, it means things are bad. It means Jason is back in our lives, and the world is about to explode. Drew Kane stood by the window, his own posture rigid with concern, though his was tinged with a different flavor of frustration. He's a grown man, Carly. He's dealing with his business. You can't keep waiting by the phone every time he and Jason decide to play gangster. The word gangster hung in the air, a pebble thrown into the still pond of their fragile, new marriage. Carly stopped pacing and whirled on him. It's not a game, Drew. It's his life. It's our life. This city, it doesn't forgive. You, of all people, know what the shadows here can do to a person. Drew's mind flashed to his own ordeal, the fractured memories, the manipulation he'd endured. I know. That's why I want something different for us. For you. You spent years waiting for Sunny to come home from one war or another. I thought we were building a life away from that. We are, Carly said, her voice softening as she walked to him. She placed a hand on his chest, feeling the steady, strong beat of his heart. But he's the father of my children. He's a part of my life, and that means his wars are my concern. I can't just switch that off. Drew covered her hand with his. I'm not asking you to. I'm asking you to let him fight them. You and I, we have a chance. A real chance. Don't let his chaos become ours again. He looked into her eyes, his gaze earnest. I love you, Carly. I chose you. All of you. But I need you to choose us, too. Actively. Every day. The plea was clear, and it struck a chord deep within her. She leaned into him, resting her head on his shoulder. I do choose us, Drew. I do. But as she stared out at the glittering skyline of Port Charles, her thoughts were with Sunny, wondering what fresh hell was brewing and how close its flames would come to scorching everything she had built. The site of the next potential inferno was, as it so often was, the hospital itself. In the Chief of Staff's office, Elizabeth Baldwin was delivering a report, her professional demeanor a thin shield for her personal turmoil. The blood work from the patients in the ER, the ones presenting with the atypical opioid reactions, it's consistent, Terry. And it's frightening. The compound is binding to receptors in a way we haven't seen. Naloxone is only partially effective. They're needing double, sometimes triple the standard doses. Terry Randolph rubbed her temples. And the source? Unknown. But the police reports are pointing to a new street brand. They're calling it Elysian. Elizabeth's voice dropped. It's hitting the vulnerable, the desperate. We've had 2 fatalities in as many days. Young people. The weight of the news settled heavily in the room. This was more than a medical crisis, it was a symptom of a deeper sickness in the city. As Elizabeth left Terry's office, her path crossed with Hamilton Finn's. He fell into step beside her. Rough day? He asked, his tone gentle. Aren't they all? She replied with a weary sigh. This new drug, it's a nightmare. It feels like we're fighting a ghost. We'll figure it out, Finn said, his confidence a balm. We always do. He hesitated, sensing the deeper currents of her distress. Is it just the drug, Liz? Or is it everything else? Elizabeth stopped walking, leaning against a cool hospital wall. It's everything, Finn. It's this. It's coming home to a quiet, empty house. It's Jake asking questions about his father that I can't answer. It's seeing the life I thought I had just vanish. Her eyes glistened with unshed tears. The ghost of Lucky Spencer, the man she had loved and lost so many times, was a permanent resident in her heart, and his recent, fleeting reappearance had torn open old wounds. He left again, Finn stated, not as a question. He did. Some lead, some new chance to chase down some demon from his past. He promised the boys he'd be back, but she shook her head. The pattern never changes. And I'm left here, picking up the pieces, explaining to my sons why their father's crusades are more important than being here. The bitterness in her voice was a rare, unvarnished glimpse into her pain. Finn placed a comforting hand on her arm. "You're one of the strongest people I know, Elizabeth. Your boys are lucky to have you. And you're not alone." The implication was clear, and not for the first time. Finn's feelings for her were an open secret, a patient, steady presence waiting in the wings. She gave him a grateful, sad smile. "Thank you, Finn. I don't know what I'd do without you as a friend." The word friend was deliberate, a gentle fence placed around a part of her heart she wasn't ready to reopen. She pushed off the wall, squaring her shoulders. "I should get back to the ER. The ghosts aren't going to fight themselves." Meanwhile, in the hospital's psychiatric wing, another kind of battle was reaching its climax. Austin Gatlinholt was in a session with his therapist, his usual bravado stripped away, leaving a raw, anxious man. "The dreams are back," Austin confessed, running a hand through his hair. "The same one. I'm in the woods. There's a light. And a voice. Mason's voice. He's telling me I failed. That it's all my fault." "And what do you believe, Austin?" the therapist asked softly. "I believe he's right." Austin's voice cracked. "I got involved with pikemen, with Cyrus. I was in over my head, and people got hurt. My family, my cousin, Maxie, she was put in danger because of me. I tried to get out, to do the right thing, and it just blew up in my face. Mason is dead because of the world I dipped my toe into. And now, with Cyrus back, it's like it's all starting again. The fear is a constant hum under my skin. I see his enforcers in the hallways. I jump at shadows. You're safe here, Austin. You've cut all ties. You're working to rebuild your life and your medical career. But don't you see?" Austin's eyes were wide, pleading for understanding. "In this city, the past is never past. It's a ghost that follows you home and climbs into bed with you. Cyrus doesn't forget. And he doesn't forgive. He's just waiting for the right moment to pull me back in, or to end me for good." His paranoia was not unfounded. As he left the session, his phone buzzed. An unknown number. The text was simple, and it turned his blood to ice. "Time to settle your debt, Doctor. The Savoy. Tonight. 9 p.m. It was signed with a single, stylized letter R. Renault. The ghost had just materialized. The tangled web of Port Charles relationships was on full display at Kelly's Diner, where Maxie Jones was attempting to have a calm lunch with her daughter, Georgie, while her current flame, Damian Spinelli, enthusiastically explained the intricacies of a new encryption algorithm to a bemused Cody Bell. "So, you see, the beauty of this particular blockchain protocol is its inherent resistance to brute force attacks, even from a state-level actor," Spinelli said, his hands flying. Cody took a bite of his burger. "So, you're saying it's good for hiding your cat memes?" Spinelli looked crestfallen. "It's for the security of our entire digital infrastructure, my hirsute friend." Maxie laughed, a genuine, light sound that had become too rare in her life. "Leave him alone, Cody. You know this is how he flirts." She winked at Spinelli, who blushed furiously. The moment of levity was shattered as Harrison Chase entered the diner, his face grim. He made a beeline for their table. "Cody. Spinelli. We have a problem. Is it a digital phantom menacing the cyber realm?" Spinelli asked, instantly alert. "It's a very real, very deadly problem," Chase said, lowering his voice. "There's a new drug flooding the streets. Elysian. It's responsible for the overdoses at GH. And we have a tip. The distribution is being run out of a shell corporation that traces back to a familiar name, Pikeman." The name landed at the table like a physical blow. Pikeman was the organization that had entangled Austin, threatened Maxie, and nearly destroyed countless lives. Pikeman was dismantled, Cody stated, his playful demeanor gone. The name was. The network wasn't. It's been resurrected. And it's more aggressive than ever. Chase's eyes met Maxie's, and she saw the unspoken worry in them. This wasn't just police business, it was personal. We need to move fast. I've asked Dante for backup, but he's preoccupied with the situation with Sunny. The mention of Sunny brought the conversation back to its origin point. The city's crises were interconnected, a series of dominoes waiting to fall. As Chase and Cody left to follow their lead, Maxie reached for Spinelli's hand. It never ends, does it? Just when you think you're safe, the past reaches out. Spinelli squeezed her hand. Fear not, my radiant Maxie. The Jackal and his associates are well versed in battling the forces of darkness. We shall be your shield. But Maxie's thoughts were already with her cousin, Austin, and the palpable fear she had seen in his eyes lately. She had a terrible feeling that this new storm was heading directly for him. Her feeling was confirmed later that afternoon when a frantic Austin showed up at her office at Deception. He contacted me, Maxie. Cyrus. He wants a meeting tonight. Maxie's blood ran cold. No. Absolutely not. You call Chase. You tell him everything. I can't. Austin insisted, pacing. If I go to the police, Cyrus will know. He has people everywhere. He'll hurt you, or Georgie. He uses what you love against you. It's what he does. I have to go. I have to hear what he wants. Maybe I can reason with him, pay him off, something. You can't reason with a shark, Austin. He'll eat you alive. Maxie's voice was sharp with fear. Let me call Sunny. Let me call Jason. And start a war with me in the middle? No. Austin stopped and looked at her, his eyes hollow. This is my mess. I have to clean it up. I needed to tell someone. In case I don't come back. The plea in his voice broke her heart. She pulled him into a fierce hug. You're coming back. Do you hear me? Your family. We protect our own. But you are not doing this alone. We are figuring this out. Together. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the city, the various threads of the day began to tighten into a noose. At the Port Charles Police Department, Dante Falconeri was staring at a bank of monitors, his face a mask of frustration. The wiretap on Sunny's main line had gone dead. He knows, Dante said to his partner. He always knows. What do you expect, Dante? It's Sunny Corinthos. He has a sixth sense for this stuff. Maybe it's time to change tactics. Dante's phone buzzed. It was a text from Sam McCall. We need to talk. It's about Jason. Dante's jaw tightened. Jason Morgan was a ghost, a legend, and the man who had been a brother to him, but whose life was a constant threat to the stability of his family. He loved him, and he resented him in equal measure. Now, Sam was being pulled back into that orbit, and with her, his own peace of mind. He found her at the waterfront, staring out at the darkening water. He's in deep, Dante, Sam said without preamble. Deeper than I've seen him in a long time. This thing with Cyrus, it's not business. It's personal for Sunny, which means it's a crusade for Jason. And you and I both know what happens when Jason goes on a crusade. People get hurt. People die, Dante finished, his voice flat. And you're worried he's going to drag you into it. He doesn't have to drag me, Sam admitted, turning to face him. Her eyes were full of a turbulent history. A part of me wants to be there. To have his back. It's who we were, Dante. It's a hard habit to break. What about who we are? Dante asked, the we hanging between them, fragile and new. What about trying to build a life that isn't defined by his wars? I want that, Dante. I do. She reached for his hand. But Jason is the father of my son. He's a part of me. I can't just stand by if he's walking into a slaughter. So, what are you asking me? For permission to go back to that life? There was a raw edge to Dante's voice. I'm asking you to understand that I'm stuck in the middle. And I'm scared. I'm scared for him, and I'm scared for us. Her confession laid bare the impossible conflict at the center of her life. Dante pulled her into an embrace, resting his chin on her head. I understand. But Sam, promise me you won't do anything reckless. Let me handle this from my end. As a cop. There are lines I can't cross, but there are also lines Cyrus can't cross without facing consequences. We're not powerless here. But as they held each other, they both knew the power of the PCPD was often a feeble thing against the dark, entrenched forces they faced. The final act of the day began to unfold as night fell. At the Metro Court Pool, a seemingly innocuous event was taking place, a charity gala for the hospital organized by Lucy Coe. The room was filled with the glittering elite of Port Charles, a stark contrast to the grim realities playing out just beyond the ballroom doors. Sonny Corinthos arrived, looking every bit the powerful businessman, with Carly radiant on his arm and Drew following close behind, a united front for public consumption. But the tension between the trio was a live wire. Across the room, Laura Collins was making polite conversation, her eyes occasionally scanning the crowd for Cyrus Renaud, who had, notably, not yet arrived. Jason Morgan was there too, a shadow in a tailored suit, his presence noted by everyone. He stood near the entrance, a sentinel, his eyes constantly moving, assessing threats. Back at the hospital, Elizabeth was finishing her shift, the weight of the day's tragedies heavy on her shoulders. As she gathered her things, Finn appeared. Let me buy you a drink. You look like you could use one. No shop talk. Just quiet. The offer was tempting. A respite from the chaos. She was about to accept when her phone rang. Seeing it was her son Jake, she answered. Hey, sweetie. Everything okay? Jake's voice was excited. Mom. You'll never guess who I just saw on my video chat. Dad. He's in Switzerland. He said he's on the trail of the people who hurt him before. He said he's close to a breakthrough and that he'll be home for real soon. Elizabeth's heart plummeted. The same old promises. The same cycle of hope and disappointment. She forced cheer into her voice. That's great, honey. We'll talk about it when I get home, okay? She hung up, the brief light in her eyes extinguished. Finn saw it all. Lucky? She just nodded, unable to speak. The drink offer still stands, he said softly. This time, she nodded. Okay. Yes. I'd like that. It was a small step, but a step away from the ghost that haunted her. At the same time, in a dimly lit parking garage, Austin Gatlin-Holt was getting into his car, his hands shaking so badly he could barely fit the key in the ignition. He was on his way to the Savoy, to his fateful meeting with Cyrus Renaud. He didn't see the dark sedan that pulled out to follow him, its driver communicating into a headset. The package is mobile. Heading towards the rendezvous point. The secondary team is in position. The war for Port Charles was moving from the shadows into the light. At the gala, the music swelled. Sonny was in a heated, whispered conversation with Jason near the bar. He's not here. He's playing games. He'll show, Jason said, his voice low. He wants an audience. He wants you to see him in your world, unafraid. As if on cue, the main doors to the ballroom opened, and Cyrus Renaud strode in, smiling genially as if he owned the room. And in many ways, he believed he did. He made a direct line for Laura Collins, but his eyes locked with Sonny's from across the crowded floor. A silent challenge was issued and accepted in that single glance. Carly, watching the exchange, felt a chill. She tightened her grip on Drew's arm. It's starting. Drew's face was set in a grim line. He had tried to build a fortress against this world, but its walls were proving paper-thin. At that very moment, Sam McCall, who had been watching from a corner with Dante, felt her phone vibrate. It was a text from an unknown number, but she knew who it was from. Jason. It contained a single, chilling sentence. "It's happening tonight. Keep Dante away from the warehouse district." Her blood ran cold. She looked at Dante, who was watching Cyrus with the focused intensity of a hunter. She had to make a choice. Warn Dante and potentially jeopardize Jason's operation, or stay silent and risk Dante walking into an ambush. The threads were all pulled taut. At the gala, a powder keg of rivalries and secrets. At the hospital, a doctor taking a tentative step toward a new future while another raced toward a confrontation with his past. On the streets, a desperate man driving toward his own destruction, followed by shadows. And in the command centers of power, two titans preparing for a battle that would inevitably draw in everyone they loved, everyone they sought to protect. The spoilers for the day had promised revelations and confrontations, and they had delivered, not with a climax, but with the agonizing, breathless pause before the storm finally breaks. Monday, November 24, 2025, would be remembered in Port Charles not for any single event, but for the collective intake of breath, the moment the city braced itself, knowing that the coming dawn would be stained with blood, tears, and the irreversible consequences of choices made in the dark. The final, unspoken headline hanging over it all was simple: tomorrow, the war begins. The morning in Port Charles began with a biting chill, but inside the Quartermain mansion, the tension was warmer, simmering beneath layers of polite breakfast rituals and clanking silverware. Olivia moved around the dining table pretending everything was fine, though her eyes darted toward the doorway every few seconds as if expecting trouble to walk right in. "We're out of marmalade," she muttered, though no one was listening. Lois sighed, pushing her coffee cup aside. "Liv, honey, you're shaking." "Sit down for a second," she urged, but Olivia just smiled thinly. "I can't sit. Not after the night we had." Brooklyn came into the room, rubbing her forehead as if she hadn't slept. "Did you hear from Ned?" she asked immediately. Lois touched her daughter's arm. "He's stable, sweetheart. He's gonna be okay." Brooke swallowed hard. "Yeah, but okay doesn't erase what happened." Olivia folded her arms tightly. "Ned insisted on reviewing those ELQ numbers after midnight. If Eddie Main hadn't still been rattling around in his head, this never would've." Brooke cut her off gently. "Mom, it's not your fault." Down the hall, Monica emerged with her medical bag slung over her shoulder, her expression heavy with a blend of worry and determined calm. "Ned is resting comfortably," she announced. Olivia exhaled in relief, though her shoulders didn't fully relax. "Can we see him?" Lois asked. Monica nodded. "Yes, but one at a time. He's weak and still confused." Brooke's hands trembled as she brushed her hair back. "I'll wait. I need a minute." Monica watched her carefully. "Brooke, he's asking for you." Brooke blinked as if caught off guard. "He is?" Monica softened. "You donated the blood that saved his life. He knows that." Brooke looked down, her voice barely above a whisper. "Right. Because I'm his daughter." In Ned's room, the beeping monitors were steady, reassuring. He opened his eyes slowly as Brooke stepped inside. "Hey!" "Dad," she said softly. Ned's voice was raspy. "Brooke." She moved closer, taking his hand. "You scared the hell out of us." Ned gave a weak smile. "Wouldn't be a Quartermain holiday season without some drama." Brooke sniffed a little laugh. "Yeah, well, next time maybe just burn the turkey like a normal person." Ned studied her closely, his expression shifting into something weighted. "Thank you for saving me." Brooke swallowed. "I didn't hesitate." Her voice cracked. Ned's gaze sharpened. "My daughter." She nodded, but the words lodged in her throat. She squeezed his hand harder and managed, always. At the hospital, the elevators dinged open as Anna marched out with purpose, her coat swishing behind her. Jordan called after her, "Anna! You need to slow down." Anna spun around. "I can't slow down. Not when someone is targeting the people closest to me." Jordan approached her cautiously. We don't know that what happened to Valentine was intentional. Anna's eyes flashed with frustration. Jordan, Valentine does not accidentally get run off the road at 90 miles per hour. Jordan conceded with a nod. We are investigating. But you barging into every department demanding answers isn't going to get us anywhere. Anna huffed. I'm heading to the crash site myself. Jordan stepped into her path. No, you're not. CSI is still sweeping the area. Give them time. Anna struggled to regain her composure. Time is exactly what we don't have. Meanwhile, in the ICU, Charlotte sat by Valentine's bedside, her hands clasped tightly. Papa, please wake up, she whispered. When Dante entered the room, she stiffened. I don't want cops here. Dante approached slowly. Charlotte, I'm not here to interrogate anyone. I'm here to check on you. Charlotte looked away. I'm fine. Dante placed a hand on the back of the chair. I know this is scary, but you're not alone in this. She shook her head. Someone did this to him. Dante kept his voice calm. We don't know that yet. Charlotte snapped, yes we do. Papa was careful. Someone wanted him dead. Dante paused, not because she was wrong, but because her certainty reminded him of a pattern he could no longer ignore. In another wing, Elizabeth hurried past the nurse's station, nearly colliding with Finn. Whoa, easy, Finn said, steadying her. She exhaled shakily. Sorry. I'm late for my shift. There's so much going on today. Finn studied her face. You okay? She gave a tight smile. Long night. Finn hesitated. Is this about Jake? Elizabeth froze. What about Jake? Finn cleared his throat. Cameron mentioned he was upset about something. Thought maybe you knew. Elizabeth frowned. Jake's been quiet, but that's not unusual. I'll talk to him when I get home. Finn wanted to push further but sensed she was done. If you need anything, she nodded. Thanks. Back at the Metro Court, Carly was reviewing invoices with a furrowed brow when Jason approached the bar. She glanced up and sighed. Tell me you have good news. Jason shook his head. No updates yet. Carly drummed her fingers on the counter. This isn't random, Jason. Someone hitting Valentine, Nina almost getting mugged last week, the weird messages to Charlotte, this is too connected to ignore. Jason crossed his arms. Which is why I told you to let me handle it. Carly scoffed. I'm not sitting on my hands while people I know are being hunted. Jason lowered his voice. Carly, this isn't your fight. She shot back, everything in this town becomes my fight sooner or later. At Kelly's, Joss poured coffee for Trina, who looked distracted. You're miles away, Joss noted. Trina sighed. It's Curtis. He's been pushing himself too hard. Joss sat across from her. He's recovering. It takes time. Trina nodded. Yeah, well, he won't take that time. And Portia's worried sick. Joss stirred her coffee. I get it. But at least you're on good terms again. Trina smiled softly. Feels like we're rebuilding. Joss leaned forward. And Spencer? Trina hesitated. We've talked. It's complicated. Joss raised an eyebrow. Isn't it always? Trina laughed quietly. Yeah. But this time feels different. Like we're trying to build something real. Joss squeezed her hand. Sometimes complicated is worth it. Across town, Laura knocked on Kevin's office door. Come in, he called. She entered, seeming more troubled than usual. I've been thinking about Charlotte, she confessed. Kevin gestured for her to sit. Go on. Laura folded her hands. She's convinced someone is targeting her family. And part of me wonders if she's right. Kevin leaned forward. After everything with Victor, with the stalker last year, with her fear of losing Valentine, she's vulnerable. Laura nodded. But she's not imagining things. The phone messages, the shadowy figure she thought she saw, the break-in at Valentine's place, Kevin considered this. Do you think someone is targeting the Cassidines again? Laura exhaled. I don't know. But when Cassidines are involved, nothing is ever random. At Pentonville, Cyrus knelt in the chapel, pretending at serenity as the door creaked open. You rang? A voice asked. Cyrus rose slowly, facing a guard who had escorted a visitor into the room. The visitor stepped forward, unknown, hooded, calm. Cyrus smiled thinly. So you finally decided to make contact. The figure's voice was low. The plan is in motion. Cyrus clasped his hands behind his back. Good. Because the people of Port Charles need a reminder that they can't silence me forever.